everybody, and welcome into Blue Jays Today, where we always have something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. Coming to you from the Sports Interaction Studio, I'm your host, Nicholas Playlaw.
And I'm your host, Adam Peddle. Today, guys, we're going to be discussing how good of a deal the Kazuma Okamoto deal is. It came out right after we had those crazy live streams where they kept crashing, and then our pre-record. So we're going to break down the details and discuss how good of a value he really is with that contract. And as well, what does this mean about the Bichette and the Kyle Tucker markets? We got an update from Jim Bowden talking about how he believes, based on his sources, we could not be done in that market yet. But before we do, please hit that like button and smash the subscribe button. Also hit that hype button too if you're able to. It helps small creators like ourselves out. Let's get right into Kazuma Okamoto. The more I sit on the Kazuma contract and his player abilities and his defense and what have you, I am loving the 4-year contract even more, Nick. It feels like this guy, like we talked about before, it's a high floor, a low ceiling, but I think the ceiling, that's a little disrespectful to call it low. I think the ceiling could be still pretty damn good.
I remember when initially the report came out, a lot of people were saying, like you said, high floor, and they weren't really respecting, I think, some of the power numbers that he had in seasons prior. And I mean, when I was just looking at some of the reports, I'm like, oh, okay, like this guy is only strictly just a bat to ball on base, which he is. He's got a lot of
Very
that.
good.
But also, too, there are seasons in the NPB where he was hitting over 40 bombs. Yeah. And there was multiple seasons in a row where it was mid to low to high 30 home runs in a row, right? This is somebody that also hits home runs on top of getting on base and hitting for average and having long, sustained at-bats, all things that Toronto loves. But I do believe that off of the initial reports, I don't think people were respecting enough of the upside that he has. I saw this a few hours after it came out that we had, in fact, signed him. And credit to the individual that made this. There's a whole site that's got all of the effectively baseball savant stuff, but for the NPB players, which has got to be a ton of work. So credit where credit is due. But take a look at some of these sabermetrics, folks. OPS plus, 100th percentile in NPB. Like, you could make a strong argument that this is one of the top 3 hitters in the NPB.
Yeah.
This is a guy here.
Yeah, like when we were looking at Team Japan back in the World Baseball Classic in 2023, like this guy was hitting in the upper part of the lineup next to Ohtani. Like this is a true all-star. And yeah, OPS plus in the 100th percentile, that is a number I like to see. So I truly do believe, based on the consistency and based on the sabermetrics right here, this guy has a very good chance of walking into the MLB and being good. Now, it's not guaranteed. I'm not a fortune teller. I can't predict the future, but I can predict based on these numbers that he will have the best opportunity to make a career and make a name for himself here in the MLB. And when you look at the contract, when he's 29 years old and he gets a 4-year deal with the Blue Jays, and we all know, I know it's not the same for everybody, this is effectively the prime of your career at this age. And you're getting 4 years of $15 million AAV. There's also a $5 million signing bonus, but effectively $15 million per year. That's only the 7th highest paid AAV Blue Jay on the current roster for a guy that could be an everyday bat, consistent at bats with power. Oh my gosh, like this guy could be an absolute steal of the deal.
Yeah, I like it a lot, man. And I think what's so exciting about this is, one, obviously the high floor and the high upside and all of it, right? Like the guy is a good baseball player. But at $15 million for 4 seasons, you allow him to grow with this team. So it's not just a one and done. And that's kind of what I was worried about, is like, oh, he comes in here for 1 year and then it's like, okay, he's out of here because he does well, or he does shit and then he picks up his player option or what have you. And then he's here, but he's actually never good. No, you're going to have him grow with this team for a long period of time. But also, if he is not good, $15 million isn't the worst bullet to bite, really. It's not going to sink you if he is not good for a season, if he does need an adjustment period. So across the board, from a financial and a monetary standpoint, I do think that this makes a ton of sense for Toronto, and I'm very excited to see what he can accomplish with Toronto for the next 4 seasons. Now, of course, this ties a lot together with Bo and with Tucker, and what does this mean for the team as a whole moving forward for free agency? So to answer that question better, here is actually Jim Bowden from the MLB radio. He had a whole clip talking about this. I will give it to you, Jim.
Either Bichette All right, so let me start with this because I'm on top of this. This does not affect the Blue Jays re-signing either Bichette or signing Tucker in free agency. However, it does take them out of the Alex Bregman sweepstakes. That's what I'm being told by my sources in Toronto.
So does not affect Bo, does not affect Tucker, does take them out of Bregman, which makes sense because ultimately Bregman primarily third baseman, which is the primary position of Kazuma as well. But with Bo, you could put him at different positions in that infield. And alternatively, you can also potentially, if you wanted to, move Kazuma to the outfield and make something happen right there. And then, of course, Tucker shouldn't affect anything with that at all. Yeah. Just completely different position group, which is good news because that's what everyone was worried about once we got this guy. It's like, okay, he's a good player, but are we still going to get somebody else?
Yeah, and let's not forget, guys, when the Blue Jays signed Dylan Cease, did anyone see the Cody Ponce signing coming out of there? No. And it almost felt like a luxury adding another starting pitcher. I could see the same thing happening with the Blue Jays right here with Okamoto and either getting one of Bichette or Kyle Tucker. Because why? Because they're right there close to the World Series, 2 outs away. I mean, you don't even need to remind you. They were that close. They got the spending power now. They have the momentum, and they're capitalizing on a team that was right there. They're going all in right now. Okamoto, that's not going to stop them. $15 million per year, that's not going to stop Edward Rogers. Like, Bo Bichette is asking for 25, maybe even 30 million. All depends on the AAV and the length of the contract. But you also got Kyle Tucker asking for 40, 45, maybe upwards of 50 if it's a short-term contract. Like, $15 million ain't going to stop him to go signing those guys. Like, that could be money thrown elsewhere in the organization that they wouldn't even think anything about. So, yeah, that's not off the table. And if they go do that in the next few weeks, I feel like, man, A++ offseason. A++. You can't ask for a better offseason than that. You could maybe argue maybe we needed to go get a closer. You still got Tyler Rogers. That's the worst part of your 3 departments of your team upgrade. It's still a pretty good darn.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this in the shower this morning. I'm like, okay, if they do go and they do bring back Bo Bichette, it's an A+ for me. Maybe not 100% on the test because, okay, yeah, you could argue you'd like the closer, right? But it's a 96%, right? Like, we still aced the assignment right here. Kazuma is awesome for depth. He is also awesome for upside. And what I love the most about it is that he also doesn't take you out of the Bo sweepstakes and the Tucker sweepstakes. And for where I'm sitting right now, I still think that this team is going to get one of Tucker or Bo. And I'm leaning towards Tucker because that's where all the reports go. That feels like their number one target still. It's been that way since day one of free agency. Kazuma does not change that at all. Bo Bichette, phenomenal fallback plan if Tucker does inevitably sign that 2-year, $150 million deal with LA or whatever the hell it would look like. But I still like Toronto to get one of those individuals, and then having Kazuma in the bottom of your lineup, like this lineup
projected,
is going to be stupid good if they can bring in one more individual.
Yeah. Well, let me bring this question up right here. Right now, the roster that we got, I personally still think it is a very complete roster, and getting one of Bo and Tucker back would make it just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But looking at this roster right here, the lineup, the rotation, even the bench is a pretty good bench, let's be honest. And then you got the bullpen. This is one of the most complete Blue Jay teams I've seen, even without Bo Bichette right now, in a very long time. Would you agree with that?
100%. And I think that ultimately where they sit right now is fine to walk into the season with. We had this conversation prior to them signing Kazuma, and we were okay if they wanted to just take that roster into the season. Right. Obviously, we were thinking we would like to see one of Bo or Tucker come in. Now you went and you addressed the offense a little bit by bringing in Okamoto. That team alone, I think, is still good enough to go to the playoffs and make some noise. Adding in Tucker or adding in Bo, that is the cherry on top. It's already an A- offseason for me. You bring in Bo Bichette or Kyle Tucker, now it's an A+, and already the deepest lineup that I've seen the Toronto Blue Jays have would get even deeper.
Well, guys, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be following along with the Bo Bichette and Kyle Tucker sweepstakes as we move forward into the new year. But if you guys are enjoying the content, please hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. Again, hit that hype button if you are able to. And guys, it's only $4 a month. Become a YouTube member. Shout out thank you to all of our current YouTube members. You guys are amazing.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And as always, go
Go Jays, go!